Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 AFL Draft Night 2 recap. Congratulations to all 71 players that had their dreams realised and became officially AFL listed players. To the players that nominated didn't get it, you know, it's hard to swallow at the moment, but, you know, there's plenty more opportunities to come. There's a rookie draft tomorrow that starts at 12 p.m. Victorian time, maybe about 15 new names, maybe getting their dreams realised. Maybe a little bit less, but there's opportunities in the preseason supplementary period, train-on periods, mid-season drafts. You know, there's all these other avenues. So keep your head up and hopefully your dreams do get realised one way or another. Now, please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the bell for all notifications. I will be doing a club-by-club review video, giving them a grading out of 10 and everything like that tomorrow. So look forward to that video. Most likely tomorrow. But one thing I want to add as well is I'm going through night 2 only tonight. So I'm not going to go through last night's. There's a video for that. That video did really well. So really appreciate you all watching it. So go back and watch that and go and check that out. I would greatly appreciate it about all the top 27 players. But now I'm going to go from pick 28 all the way through to 71. My overall feeling for tonight only, Port Adelaide did pretty well. St Kilda did really well. St Kilda did trade out a future second for a pick in the 40s with a future third coming back. I mean, Veseden, it's like, you know, the player we got for that selection was, I think it was James Barat, which I've interviewed Jimmy. He's a great guy. So, you know, it was worth doing. That's right. It was Hugh Boxshall from WA, a midfielder from WA. So, you know, Hugh may not have been talked about as much as some of the others, but at 45, clearly they rate him highly. And to be honest, pick 45 is just at the start of the third round. You know, if a lot of academy players next year, that pick, if St Kilda finish in the middle part of the ladder, could be 30-something, and then it can get pushed out with bits, could be, say, 38, 40. And we had him for 45. So it's around the mark potentially if the Saints finish in the middle part of the ladder and all the bids happen and everything like that. So, I mean, it might sound like a lot on the surface, but we've got a future third back. So it softens the blow a little bit. So, yeah. All right. But then also Port Adelaide got the Whitlock, Jack Whitlock, which is great for them. West Coast got Job Shanahan. They got Hamish Davies Lade, who was linked in the 30s. So West Coast stole the night 2 draft. If we're being brutally honest, they stole the night 2 draft. Alrighty, so let's go through pick by pick. That St Kilda trade was the only major trade. There was obviously future thirds being swapped for future fourths with picks in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So I'm not going to go through those trades because in the end, they either passed on them or they grabbed players. So Richmond retained the first pick of night 2, and with pick 28, they did not go Job Shanahan. They went another key forward in Thomas Sims. You know, a good player, good selection, but I'm really surprised they didn't go Job Shanahan. But another key forward, and once we get to more names, Richmond polled up 3 key forwards in this year's draft, but I'll detail that more tomorrow. Pick 29, the Western Bulldogs selected Lockie Jacks from the Geelong Falcons, a half-back. It's got good ball use, averaged around 20 disposals for the Geelong Falcons, was up there in their best and fairest last week. So looking at his stats, at first I thought maybe a little bit early, but it was around the mark. And to be honest, his stats were pretty cool for the Bulldogs. They're pretty cool stats for the Dogs there. So, yeah, that could be a good selection for the future. Pick 30, though, Job Shanahan for the West Coast Eagles. The West Coast Eagles selected Job Shanahan, and boy, oh boy, wowee, the Eagles did really well here. Job Shanahan was linked in the 15 range. They could have selected him when they picked up Bo Allen, but he was too hard to miss, Bo Allen, and now Job Shanahan. So 2 steals in 2 picks at this stage for the Eagles. I mean, what more can you ask? A key forward depth option with Waterman and Allen. He could be the 3rd best key forward at the club. That's high praise. Kicked a lot of goals for Bendigo Pioneers this year. Yeah. Pick 31, the Western Bulldogs again selected Josh Dolan, a guy from Victoria. I think it can be a good selection. A really good year in the championships, and it'd be a really good selection for the Bulldogs. Pick 32, the Saints selected Jimmy Barat, also known as James Barat. Jimmy, who I had on the podcast earlier this year, a very good person and a great player, and I'm really happy he's gone to the Saints. Jimmy has played as a key forward for Bendigo Pioneers, dominated there as a key forward, kicking multiple bags of goals. Then was a late call up to the state championships for Vic Country and played as a key defender. And he really dominated in the state championships as a key defender. So that versatility is very important. That's clearly why St Kilda picked him over a Whitlock, over a few of the other tools, because Jimmy has that versatility in his game through the state championships to show he can play as a key defender as well. So could be the new swingman to play up forward and play up back. So I love this selection with Jimmy Barat from the Bendigo Pioneers to the Saints at pick 32. Pick 33, this Port Adelaide Football Club selected Jack Whitlock. I can't believe he still got this far, even on the second night alone. He went to Port Adelaide, so Port Adelaide got a steal here for Jack Whitlock, the key forward. His twin brother, Matt, went to North Melbourne with the last pick of the first night. But yeah, great selection here for the Power. A steal at pick 33. Pick 34, Fremantle selected Charlie Nichols, South Australia, a bit of an unknown name to some, but Freo sometimes have done this in the past, and they've done this later on in the draft as well. Pick 35, Hawthorn selected Noah Mraz, a key defender from Victoria, was injured after a few games this year, so we haven't seen too much of him, but he'll be a great selection for the Hawks down the line. But I find it a bit interesting they went a key defender when there's a few other players in certain positions they could have picked. When they already recruited Josh Battle and Tom Barras, and they still got James Sicily, so very interesting. Pick 36, GWS selected Jack O, a guy that was linked around this pick. The Giants are known to get some guys that, a lot of people aren't talking about, so it could be a handy acquisition for the Giants. Pick 37, Essendon selected Kale Guerin from WA, a tall forward ruck. This could be a very dangerous selection in terms of for other opposition. A big, strong player is Kale, and it could be an interesting player for Essendon to see whether he starts as a forward or as a backup ruck option, but we're interested to see. Now, pick 38, Port Adelaide selected Christian Moraes. The emotion in Christian was awesome to see, and, like Jess Wrench in the AFL for the Eagles last year, her emotion was shown, and now for Christians, I feel like that was this year's version of great emotion. So honoured. He was tearing up while speaking. It shows how much that he wanted it. From the Eastern Rangers, great to see him play. Got a good player and clearly a good person in Christian Moraes. Willie plays another midfielder, though. And you got Butters and Rosie and Coth pushing through there. We'll have to wait and see. But regardless for the future, Christian Moraes is a great selection for the Power. Pick 39, Essendon selected Angus Clark from South Australia. He is the son of Adelaide AFLW coach Matthew Clark. So we're interested to see where Angus fits into the Bombers, a backman. So we'll have to see how he goes there. Pick 40 was Harry O'Farrell for Carlton, a really tall key defender. Carlton going tall again, which is very interesting. We'll see how he fits in at the Blues. Pick 41, the first of the mature age players. Pick 41, Sydney selected Riley Bice from Werribee. One of a few Werribee players to be picked up. So we'll get to some of those shortly. Riley Bice, 23-year-old halfback. It's been mentioned throughout the mid part of the year as the mid-season draft. That didn't happen. And then late in the year, he was talked about playing in the premiership for Werribee, like his teammates that are also being picked up. Ty Gallop for pick 42 from the Brisbane Lions Academy, tall forward, ruck. Brisbane snapped him up after Geelong placed a bid, and they took him at pick 42. Pick 43, Ben Camporelli for Carlton, was bidded on as well, and Carlton were clearly going to match that. He's a bit different to his brother Lucas. One's an inside player, one's an outside player, but you can never have enough midfielders. So Ben Camporelli joins the Blues as a father-son. Geelong at pick 44, who also bidded on Ben Camporelli, selected Jay Polkinghorne, So, Geelong again, like in the unknown times, haven't heard Jay's name be mentioned too much at all. So Geelong again, like going for the unknown. So interesting to see how he fits into Geelong as a key position player. Pick 45, the Saints selected Hugh Boxall. Boxall. I like the selection of Hugh, a 183 centimetre midfielder from WA, played in the state championships, did really well, averaged about 18 disposals, just over 18 disposals in the state championships. Clearances and contested possessions and tackling is his thing. A bit of speed as well. And I mean, that's the type of midfielder St Kilda need. 183 centimetres is not as tall as some other mids, but likened to a Jack Steele type of player, which, I mean, he's going to be anything like Steely. That's a great steal at 45. Pick 46, the West Coast Eagles selected Tom Gross from Victoria. A guy that was probably linked in the early 20s to go at 43 is another steal for the West Coast Eagles, or 46, sorry, even more of a steal. Pick 47, Collingwood selected Joel Cochrane from Sydney's Academy, who passed on him. And very interesting that Sydney matched or didn't get him, but they got another Academy player that another club passed on, which we'll get to shortly. But Joel Cochrane, a rebounding defender for Collingwood now from the Swans Academy. Collingwood obviously needs some more key defenders and key forwards, and they've done that in the draft tonight. Pick 48, and obviously Tim Embry through the free agency period. Pick 48, West Coast selected Luca Grego from the Western Jets, Victoria midfielder. Was a part of the Vic Metro squad, just couldn't get a game because of the insane depth they have. But again, anyone that plays in the state championships is a good player. And Luca Grego from the Western Jets is one as well. Pick 49, Gold Coast selected Cooper Bell, who was a part of the Giants Academy. And they passed on him. So key defender, the Gold Coast Suns get another key defender, more of a defender that's really close towards the goals. Pick 50, Collingwood selected Charlie West. A bit of an unknown name as well, but sometimes these players can, be very, very good and pop up out of nowhere and end up being good players. We've seen clubs do that in the past with some players, and potentially Charlie West is that for the Pies. Now, another mature age player from Richmond's VFL at pick 51, the Western Bulldogs selected Sam Davidson. Everyone was talking about him. He was the VFL player that was going to be picked up. He was the state league guy that was definitely going to be picked up. He had so much interest, and, well, the Bulldogs are known to get guys like this out of the VFL system, whether it's through their own at Footscray or other VFL clubs, like they've done with Essendon in the past. They've done it with their own as well. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how he fits in. I feel like Luke Beveridge is the type of coach that likes playing these type of guys. I can see him playing from round one. And to be honest, their forward line's not much chop in that medium size to small type. So Sam Davidson, 21 years of age, won the award in the VFL that players generally get recruited from. So did really well this year for Richmond's VFL as a forward. Now at pick 52, Geelong selected Jacob Mollier. If I'm being brutally honest, he's a ruckman, but he's from SA. And I thought this was going to be the pick that Geelong were going to screw St Kilda over by picking Alex Dodson, because St Kilda had the next pick and they traded up for. They did trade up for. So I thought Geelong were going to screw the Saints over here, but they didn't. They got another ruckman from SA, Jacob Mollier. At pick 53, the Saints selected Alex Dodson. And I'm so pumped that the Saints got Alex Dodson, the best young ruck in this year's draft. You go through all the clubs, ruckman in the state championships. Alex was the best player by far. It was linked in the 20s. I want to talk about a steal. I mean, there's been so many steals in this year's draft. I've probably said it so many times, probably said it about 10 times now. But so many players got about 20 picks lower than where they should have gone. And Alex Dodson went at pick 53. Sink that in. At pick 53, a guy that was linked around 18. This is one of the biggest steals of this year's draft. It's a fact. Young ruck, plays like Luke Jackson and Rowan Marshall. And if you're going to play like those guys, he's going to be a great mobile ruckman. And, with Rowan Marshall, I am confident Alex Dodson could play senior footy straight away. You've seen Tim English do it. Could be more of a reason to play Rowan Marshall more up forward if need be. No rush, but if he played, I'd be confident in him playing like Tim English did. So, I'm just pumped that we've got Alex Dodson. It gives that flexibility to potentially play Rowan Marshall up forward. And once that happened, I knew we weren't going to get any more ruckman. So Harry Boyd, maybe a chance for another club at the rookie draft tomorrow. At pick 54, Carlton selected Lucas Cambrielli. From Sydney placed a bid and Carlton matched it. The brother of Ben, another father-son, and a great selection inside-outside midfielder like his brother. So a good addition to the Carlton midfield crew. Lucas Cambrielli at pick 54. At pick 55, Sydney selected Melbourne Academy player Riak Andrew, the brother of Mac Andrew from the Gold Coast. Melbourne didn't match. Funny story, Melbourne couldn't match it under the rules for Mac Andrew, and now they had the ability to select Riak Andrew, and they did not select him. They had the opportunity to, and they didn't. Very interesting. So two Mac Andrew and Riak Andrew they could have had in the space of 4 years, and the first one was out of their control, and the second one they had in their control, and they didn't select him. Very interesting. But they didn't want another key defender, I guess. They got Lever and May. They're obviously confident in. I still would have thought they would have liked to have brought in a key defender type. Pick 56, Collingwood selected Will Hayes from WA. Again, an unknown quantity to the Pies. I've done that a few times now in this draft. So see how he goes. With pick 57, North Melbourne selected Luke Urquhart. Hope I got that right, Luke. Apologies if I haven't. From WA, a defender, likened to a Luke McDonald type. So a halfback. Got a bit of height on him as well. Good kick. So North Melbourne just need a lot of players coming in, and hopefully for them that Luke can provide that. At pick 58, Richmond selected Jasper Alga, a forward, a medium-sized forward. I'm surprised he was another one that slid so low. I mean, personally, I didn't have him in my top 30, but he was just outside that. But still to go at 58 is a steal in some degree. So Jasper Alga at Richmond at pick 58, who they traded up for, by the way. At pick 59, Adelaide selected father-son key forward Tyler Welsh, who I had on the podcast late last year, ahead of this year's top 8 year. And he did really well as a key forward. Kicked 5 goals earlier on in the year, and you just knew how good he was going to be. And last year's state champions, kicking 5 in a game. And we addressed that when I spoke to him on the podcast, and just did so well. Then had a great year for SA in the state championships this year, and playing in the Sandford competition as well. And they're going to have a really good player here in Tyler Welsh. I said to you all this was going to happen. At pick 60, St Kilda selected Patrick Said. I said to you all, this was going to happen. And I said so that we'd get Patrick Said. And boy, oh boy, we did. Patrick Said from the Calder Cannons, a midfielder, a bit of an unknown name as well. Kind of came out of nowhere. But like I said to you, he was always coming to the Saints. So, yeah, Patrick Said is a Saint. At pick 61, the Bombers selected Reece Unwin from Victoria. Again, the later the picks, the more unknown generally a lot of these guys are to the wider public. But sometimes, as I said before, you get some hidden gems. Pick 62, the Western Bulldogs selected Luke Kennedy, someone that can play through the forward line in the midfield. Another from the Sandy Dragons, who, by the way, had like 14 or 15 players get selected out of 71 selections. It's like the most ever. So that's great for Rob Harding, who I've had on the podcast before as well, and the Rob and the crew down at the Sandy Dragons. They always produce great players. Levi Ashcroft was one that comes to mind as well. So they've done really well down at the Sandy Dragons. And Luke Kennedy has joined the Bulldogs at pick 62 as well under Luke. Pick 63, Fremantle selected Jaron Carr, the son of Josh Carr. Played reserves for South Freo. So, a guy that's come out of nowhere really, wasn't playing really, played a few league games for South Freo, but didn't play too many. And generally those guys don't get drafted. But you've seen Lawson Humphreys done that in the past. But I just find this very interesting. That's where Freo have gone. I would love to know the thoughts of why he was selected. But regardless, congratulations to Jaron for being selected 20 years of age as well. At pick 64, Hawthorn selected Cody Anderson, Academy from the Eastern Rangers. Be an interesting selection for the Hawks. Pick 65, one of the last steals of tonight's draft was Hamish Davis from West Coast, was linked in the late 20s to the early 30s. And boy, oh boy, well, did they do well tonight. The Eagles, they stole night 2, as I said off the top, and St Kilda to a degree as well. So the Eagles will be really happy with their draft haul overall. Bo Allen, and then the guys I got tonight. Pick 66, Geelong selected St Kilda Academy player Lennox Hoffman, another medium-sized running defender. The Saints already drafted 3. You already got enough on the list. So smart from Geelong, knowing that St Kilda were probably going to pass, and that's what they did. But Geelong selected Lennox Hoffman at pick 66. Pick 67, North Melbourne selected father, son, and Rivers Stevens. Obviously, his dad is Anthony Stevens. He'll play up forward, played for the Geelong Falcons as well. Pick 68, one of the mature age players from Werribee that I mentioned off the top. Aiden Johnson, a key forward. He's got Gary Ablett-like hair. 23 years of age, sorry. A mature age player for Melbourne from Werribee, a key forward. And that's something Melbourne need. And he's got experience behind him. And that's what Melbourne need. Experienced key forwards. And he dominates at the VFL level. Will that transition to the AFL level? We'll have to wait and see. At pick 69, Geelong selected Peyton Matofei Forbes. I hope I've got that correct. I apologise if I got that wrong. But Caton has joined the Geelong Football Club. Again, an unknown name. And that's what Geelong like to do from Victoria as well. At pick 70, the Bombers selected Zach Johnson from Victoria. A guy I've heard the name of a fair bit. And not too surprised he got picked up. Playing for Victoria through the midfield and forward line. Or mainly the midfield, but Essendon obviously want more midfield depth. And the last pick of night 2 from the Giants was Logan Smith, a GWS Academy ruckman, 203 centimetres. He's going to be a guy that's going to be hard to match up against in the ruck, straight away even, to be honest. One to definitely keep an eye on for the future for the Giants at pick 71. Some names in the rookie draft for tomorrow. Expect Dom Brew, I would see, from Werribee, 26-year-old midfielder, a gun. You see Sean Manor, and that's what I feel like Dom Brew could be. I'm really shocked that Geelong or Western Bulldogs are two sides that love stealing from Werribee in the VFL and the VFL in general. I mean, I cannot believe he hasn't been picked up. If he's not picked up tomorrow, surely he's going to be a train on Dom Brew. Wears his heart on his sleeve, a gun midfielder, seems like a great guy. 26 years of age. We've seen Sean Manor get picked up. Dom Brew is going to be the next man to be picked up from the state leagues. No ifs, ands, or buts. Great player. He was one I was hoping St Kilda would pick towards the end, and they haven't. See you with the rookie draft tomorrow. Will Dom Brew be picked up? He should be. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. We'll have a full draft recap video, including the few rookie selections as well, on top of all that in the overall review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Until the next video, take care, thank you, and go Saints. And I said that we'd get, Patrick said, Alex Dodson, Jimmy Barat, Hugh Boxall, and co. I'm so happy with how the Saints went.